right, guys, I am back for a little bit, and we're gonna, I have this basket left of like just extra stuff that I printed and just extra things we didn't use. And so I want to make some ephemera, and there'll probably be like 2 episodes of this, and I'm gonna just call them mopping up. That way, and I've been doing that with all the extras through all the different like kits that I've been using of Tina's. And so I'm getting kind of a good little stash of stuff. So yeah, we'll just, I will be right back and we will get started. All right, guys, I am ready to get started. Our cute little Gracie had to ask me questions. That's why I paused the video for a second. She is getting, not getting, I mean, she's kind of had it, but she's doing some work for a lady right down the road. And so that lady just texted this morning to see if Grace could come over today and muck stalls for her. So yeah, this is just a creating just like ephemera here. And so yeah, just craft with me if you can, if you want to, I should say. But yeah, it's just super simple, easy crafting today. It was one of those weekends, guys, where things just didn't, I don't know. I try not to be too down or say too much about like life in its current circumstances, but I think the whole arrangement has played itself out, if I'm gonna be real honest. I just don't see it working, especially when there's no change in behavior. Oh, you know what? That doesn't make much sense, huh? It's going to be upside down. All right, well. Okay, what am I going to do here? Because no matter what I do, it's not going to be upright. Okay. Well, okay, we won't scratch that. Maybe we'll just build it. So basically, I was going to make some of those little envelopes that, or like a variation of the envelopes that people have been making. So that was my goal, but just make them little to use up these little pieces here, the square pieces, and then we'll, I don't know, maybe we end up just using all of them in that fashion. I don't know, we'll see. So anyways, on to happier topics. I'm still loving the job. Still super excited. My project is literally almost done. I have to put on the finishing touches of the final spreadsheet. And for whatever reason, my brain is not meshing well with the going from, because in my dad's office, I have a Mac that we bought years ago, and that's just what I use. And so I'm used to Mac stuff, and it definitely is a learning curve going back to not Mac, Windows, right? Like it just, I mean, I'll get it eventually, but I mean, it's a learning curve going backwards, or not backwards, but you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'm not even making sense, am I? Anyways, it's a learning curve going different from what you've been doing. So, and just for reference, I did use, I am using the can't even talk today. How about that? Single-sided book or single page book page right now because I'm building it up via the paper. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So yeah, and then I think I mentioned last week that I have to start on like the parent company. I mean, that's just what I'm going to call it. Because really, I mean, they're kind of more like sisters, but I'm just going to call it the parent company. So yeah, I will be starting on that probably early, either late this week. Like we'll probably pull up the documents for it. Because I can do a lot of it from the Fort Collins office, but I won't be able to do like the actual like inventory until like I'll have to go do like a visible check, if you will. Because I mean they've been in business over 30 years, so, and I'm pretty sure nobody's really kept track of a of like inventory like that. So that'll be interesting. But I think I pretty much told the boss yesterday that I think, because I mean it would be no less than a 2-hour drive both ways for me if I were just to like commute and go down to Denver. I was just like, I'm not waking up that early, and I'm not going to bed that late, and then still, you know, there's no way. So I'll just stay in a hotel down there, which she seemed fine with. So, I mean, it would be great if they pay, like they help me pay for it, but at that point, I don't even really care if they do or they don't, because, yeah, I said 4 hours out of my day is not ideal. Spent behind the wheel of a car. I did that for many, many years, and I'm not going to do it anymore if I can help it. When my grandma was really sick and my mom had really bad cancer, the kids and I were in the car every day almost. I think the only day we had off from doing that was like Saturdays and Sundays. But yeah, if I remember correctly, Mom's chemo and Mom's blood work was on Mondays. Grandma's dialysis was on Mondays, so I would have to run. Oh, I had it upside down. Oh well. I had to run out, grab Grandma, take her to dialysis, come back and get Mom and take her in for her blood work, bring her back, go to the grocery store, and then go pick up Grandma when she was done with her dialysis. And then Tuesdays I had to come out and pick Mom up for chemo and drop her off. Or maybe her chemo was on Wednesday, because for some reason it seemed like 2 days a week it was like run. And then Bo started kindergarten, so that saved him a little bit from having to be in the car so much. And then, oh yeah, a lot of stuff happened in those couple of years. And Gracie ended up basically spending most of her childhood in a car seat. I mean, I would try to take him to the park as much as possible and stuff like that, but still, I mean, and you know, honestly, I let them be hooligans at home. Like, I wasn't overly, I don't want to say, I mean, of course they still got disciplined, but I really didn't get mad at the horseplay or whatever, because they had been cooped up for so many hours, and these kids were just amazing at like being quiet when the doctors were talking. And because Grandma had 18 surgeries in 3 years, and so I was pretty much the one that went to the hospital and sat with her. When she was having issues, I was the one the hospital would call to come sit with her in the middle of the night. I mean, luckily at that point we were, Paul and I had been having financial issues, unrelated to any of this stuff. He got into, well, 2003 was just a rotten year for us, financially and just in life in general. The only good thing that ever came out of 2003 was grace. So, yeah, so anyways, we moved in with my in-laws, because we lost our house, and, we had 2 small babies. So, you know, so what happened, so anyways, in February of 2003, I'm like however many months pregnant, because she was born in June. So I don't feel like doing the math right at the moment, but if you would like to, that'll give you a pinpoint. So anyways, in that February, we were having car issues with like pretty much every car we had, you know, young couple, whatever. I mean, you know how things like that go. Life just seems to always hit you when you're down, right? So anyways, he ended up, by no fault of his own, hitting an elk, which totaled my car. So then we were down to 1 car for a while, until my aunt gave me her, see, what were we driving? Oh, for like, I don't know, it was probably, oh yeah, because I didn't get my white mom car until we moved in with my in-laws. Okay. All right. So sorry, that's been a long time ago. That's been 18 years ago. Kind of hard to remember every event. But anyways, we got, oh, that's so cute, isn't it? And I don't actually think I'm gonna put anything in it just yet, but oh, that's a cutie. That is a cutie. I like this one. Okay, now I see what the fascination's all about. And when you make anything small, right, it's always cute. Anyways, so where was I in the story? So yeah, kids. So yeah, he wrecked that car. My aunt ended up giving us this little Honda Accord that was silver, and like you would put it into drive and it would jerk forward. You'd put it in reverse and it would jerk forward or backwards. It was the biggest piece of crap we ever had, but man, did it get me where I needed to go. So, then after that, let's make another couple of those, because I have lots of little paper here. Let's find us a big piece first, right? Because we can, oh, you know what? This is going to be cute. Anyways, so we, Paul drove that for a couple of weeks, and then, my cousin had passed away. I've talked about him before, I believe. Scott, the one whose birthday is this Saturday. And he had a little pickup. It was a black Chevy S10. And so, my aunt and uncle went ahead and let us drive that for a long while. I think we drove that probably 3 or 4 years. And I mean, they were fine with it. I mean, it was just sitting there collecting dust, you know, that nobody would drive it really. But yeah, not gonna lie, that was definitely a godsend to us, because then after, see, was he still trying, like I said, I'm trying to remember sequence of events. So I think we kept that one, for a while. I drove the Honda, and then the Honda started giving out, and my cousin's husband would be able to fix it. So we like basically gave it back to my aunt's daughter and her husband, and he put some work into it. In the meantime, I got Paul's great grandmother's car. It was a blue Taurus, and I loved the thing. I mean, it was old enough. It drove like one of those luxury cars. Like, it was all soft and easy driving, and especially after driving that Honda for so many years. Oh, I was really grateful to get that car. And I think at the time we paid like $1,500 for it. and it was worth it. However, it had been sitting, since she was elderly, it had been sitting in her garage for so many years. It was starting to have problems. Like, we ended up having to put all new, like, you can come in. All right, I love you, baby. Bye. Try to text if you can when you get there. I was like, try to text if you can when you get there. Okay, love you. Be safe. So where was I? And it was like the belt was cracked and we had to replace that. And then like all the coolant rubber hoses went bad, and then it was just like over time, continuously, just little things would go wrong. And then I'm trying to think when. So we drove that for a couple of years, and then did I have, yeah, I must have had, maybe I had that before I had Grace. Maybe my timeline's off. Anyways, not that it matters, but, so yeah, I must be off, because I think that, I think I had the blue car before everything. Like, I mean, Paul, like, totaled my Saturn, and then we drove the silver car, the Honda, and we still had his pickup, but that thing didn't have any seatbelts, so I couldn't drive it. It had a middle one, but yeah, I wasn't going to drive pregnant with no seatbelt, because it's a 78 Chevy Stepside, so very cool truck, but it's not now. I mean, it's been sitting rotting for 18 years because we didn't have the time or the money to put back into it. But at any rate, that's a whole nother story for another time. Anyways, oops, flying butterflies. Imagine that, a flying butterfly. Anyways, yeah, let's see. So then, yeah, we had that car, the blue one, and then it started going bad when we moved in with his parents. That's right. I did have it before we lost the house. Not long before, but anyways, it started going bad, like all the hoses, and then the engine actually seized. Not because I didn't have oil in it, but because it had just sat for so many years that it was no longer like what it should have been. And I miss that car. I mean, it was a nice car. It was a little Ford Taurus, or was it a Mercury Sable? I can't remember. It was I think it was a Ford Taurus, which, I mean, ultimately they're kind of the same car, but at any rate, I think with the Mercury you have a few more options, but that's about it. I mean, and then my second car was my white mom's car, like, and that sucker was really nice. I really liked that. And so, yeah, we ended up having to get rid of that one after all the dialysis and chemo, because it was had so many miles on it. And it was just it needed, it needed like a water pump or something. I think I don't want it that long. Yeah, so it just, like I said, it got to a point where it was going to start nickel and diamond too. And so, we sold it to my father-in-law, and he was gave me, I say gave, but not really gave, but he he had a Jeep. It was like an 08 or something, 07, 04. I no longer remember what year my Jeep is. That's pretty sad because I loved that thing. Anyways, he sold us that Jeep for what, just basically assumed the bank loan is how that worked, which that in itself was just amazing. That was a good deal for us. And then some point along the line, my same aunt that had let us borrow the black pickup and all that jazz ended up giving us my grandpa's van, which she had gotten when my grandpa passed away, or shortly thereafter. So she gave us the van, and we gave back the black pickup. And so then Paul drove that van 4 or 5 years at least. So yeah, and then, what else? What else happened, guys? I mean, a lot that year, like I said, happened. Oh, and then Paul's dad did the same thing for us. Oh no. Okay, hold on. Okay, I gotta back up. How ridiculous is it that I can't remember exactly when and where we had all these vehicles, right? Okay, so before I got the Jeep, Paul's dad did the same thing for Paul. I mean, both of us, obviously. But he sold us his little gold Chevy Impala because he wanted the black Jeep. That's how that worked. So he got a little Jeep Liberty, and then we assumed the loan, which was really great for us because, like I said, all that. Oh, so back to 2003 for a minute. Sorry, I keep skipping around on you, but in that year, Paul got into that accident. Then months later, the week after Gracie was born, he was in a terrible jet skiing accident and almost died in the lake. Had like a 9-inch gash in the back of his head. Lost a ton of blood. He should have gotten a blood transfusion. I didn't stop them from doing it, but when I got there, he was unconscious for quite a while, and we were trying to, weighing the pros and cons of him getting the blood transfusion, which now I wish I had, definitely, I don't want to say made them give it to him, but definitely, been more insistent. But I was young. I had a week-old baby, and I ended up having West Nile. Like all at the same time. Like I said, 2003 really sucked for us. So yeah, anyhow, so, he got into the jet skiing accident, and then, it just went downhill from there. So then he was off work for, like 3 weeks. Like he couldn't even stand on his own. And of course I'm a brand new mom, right? I mean, not like it was my second child, but still new mom to a new baby, right? So then what else happened? I mean, a lot happened that year. So then he ended up getting injured at work. He ended up getting a couple of hernias, and, then his work decided they weren't going to cover it. So then, unfortunately, we ended up having to sue them, and we didn't want anything other than the medical expenses covered. And they were stinkers, and so we ended up having to sue them, which still to this day, because we're not really the sue type of people, but I meant, like, it was a lot of money. He had 2 hernias, and there was something, he had a back injury, and what's weird is they covered the back injury like 100%, never balked at it, but the hernia surgery, God, you would have swore that we were pulling their teeth to get them to cover anything with the hernia surgery, and it was cheaper than the back stuff that he was going through. Yeah, so that happened, and then, so then obviously being out of work for 3 weeks, us just having a new baby, we lost the car to the elk. I mean, like I said, it was just kind of a crazy year. So anyways, financially, we just could not keep up with it anymore. And so, yeah, we let the house go. We claimed bankruptcy. And I look back now, and this is the really, really bad part. I look back now, and we have this insurance, and we still have it to this day. It basically covers us in those, like, it's like not like an Aflac, but it's like a life insurance, so it covers everything from like suicide to what did I do with my other piece, guys? Oh, set it over here. It covers everything from like suicide to regular, like, accidental death to you name it. This policy covers it. We forgot all about it, that we could have used it. if we had used it, we would have been fine on the house. We would have been fine until he got back up on his feet. Like, you know, everything does happen for a reason, right? Right. But it's one of those things that haunts me to this day, right? When I think now, it's like that house, because that was the one we built over in Greeley. If we were still there, it would be paid off. Or almost paid off. We would probably have like 3 years left to pay on it. Doesn't that just irritate you? Just that, you know, I think we were just under so much pressure and so much just nerves that, I mean, neither one of us thought about it until years later. We're like, oh, because you can use it in case of like injury and whatnot. I mean, it's one of those all around life insurance policies. Yeah, but you know what? Everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? Because you're destined to be on whatever path you need to be on, I think. All right, there's number 2. How stinking cute is that one? I love that. It's gorgeous. And then, you know, I'll print out some more of her like definitions or something, and we'll use that on there when we go to decorate for another journal. Yep, I'm loving that. Okay, I think we got time for maybe one more. Maybe we'll just keep this so we can get a couple more done, so I feel kind of accomplished. Maybe we'll just do some tags. Yeah, so anyways, okay, so then all that happened, and back to the cars, I guess. So then after all of that, we had maybe like a year or 2 of like reprieve. And then that's when Grandma got sick, had her heart attack, and then went into renal failure after the heart attack. Because when they put in her stent, they didn't do the proper things, and so plaque loosened and went straight to her kidneys and shut down her kidneys. And then I don't know how many of you know about dialysis much, but they try to put in this thing they call a graft. And that failed miserably for her both times. And then they wanted to try a 3rd time, and Grandma and I both were like, nope. Done. D-O-N-E, done. She was done trying to feel, or like trying to get over that. I think I'm not going to use the book page. I think we'll just back it onto regular cardstock. Maybe if I have a few more of those, maybe we can get those whipped out, huh? No idea. Okay, so yeah, then she went into renal failure. And then she was in and out of the hospital, obviously. And then my uncle and my aunt basically refused to help do anything. Meanwhile, my uncle's basically living on Grandma's property for free. I know I don't usually talk a whole lot about that kind of stuff, but anyways, and there was a big legal kerfuffle. So I, as Grandma's, what do they call it? My mom and I both had medical durable power of attorney. Oh, power of attorney person. Then I was like, I had to help her with her legal stuff, and boy, if that wasn't traumatic, I don't know what was. I think that's why I've never really been one to like sue stuff, because I know how like it just gets heartbreaking, because it tore the entire family apart. I mean, I don't talk to that aunt or that uncle anymore at all, ever, and nor would I, and none of them know my children really, which is pretty sad. But at the same token, there's no way that I would allow my children to be anywhere near all that toxic stuff. Yeah, and my aunt, my uncle's wife, oh man, that woman, will test your faith in people like nobody's business. That's pretty much all I can say about her. Like, she is vicious, and she's just not a nice person. Anyways, so all that said, yeah, through it all, it really was just me and my kids, and obviously they couldn't really help a whole lot. I mean, they did. When the kids got older, they would help me like cook the food. Oh, because that was the other thing, is on Sundays I was like mass producing food for their house, because at the time, like, for convenience, we had mom and my brother living with grandma, so that like it was all in one spot, you know, that sort of thing. And I'm not going to punch these out because I think we're going to do some scrap stuff. I know I'm going to make some scrappy clusters with like old laces and stuff for that journal we're doing, the industrial one. That'll start here in the next little bit, as soon as I'm done with the mop up and everything. But yeah, so at any rate, I say in here, don't even remember. So anyways, besides me and the kids, it was really just down to my mom and my little brother. We were pretty much the only ones that took care of grandma. And then, like I said, my mom got cancer. So yeah, she's fine now though. She made it just fine. Grandma ended up succumbing basically to the renal failure, which is usually what happens when they go into renal failure, because she wasn't a good candidate for a transplant because she didn't meet the age requirements, and she became inoperable, and that was like the biggest obstacle. And so they gave, when it first was like an onset, they gave us like 3 to 5 years. And let's see, I think she was right at, or right over 3 years. Because she died in 2008. She died in 2009. How bad is that? I can't even remember. And it was like 2000, it was either summer of 2004 or fall of 2005. And I know that that's, must have been fall of 2005 when all of that started happening with her. So yeah, right around the 3-year mark. But that's not even what actually killed her. What killed her is she fell, and she had osteoporosis really bad for years. And so then she fell, and she like fractured from basically hip to neck. And so they were going to have to like cement her entire back, but they needed to get her aneurysm under control. So they were going to try to like go up through her leg. And anyways, long story short, I mean, I told them, if you do that, you're going to end up killing her. And this fancy doctor from Greeley is like, no, I'm good at it. It won't happen. And yeah, then a couple hours later, we get the call saying basically that she's not going to make it. Which, I mean, part of me, I know this is going to sound terrible, but it's like a blessing and a curse, right? Like, you don't want to lose your loved one. But she had been suffering for so many years. With just, I mean, radiation, or not radiation, chemo's, or not chemo even. My mom did chemo. Which is also brutal on the body, but you can't, dialysis is really hard. Not just like physically. I mean, I have no idea on the pain level. Grandma never really complained about pain per se, at least not to me. But just, it makes you nauseous. It makes you dizzy. It's, yeah. Oh, and I'll, you know, next video, I'll go into the whole grafting, like the graft experience. So yeah, it'll be like a continuation of the story. How about that? All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a video. And like I said, well, I'm getting down pretty close to have, like, as far as like the papers here, there's not too many of the embellishments left. Yeah, I don't have that many. So yeah, we'll work with these embellishments when I get back. Maybe I'll cut them out while this video is loading, and we'll just kind of finish that, decorate up some stuff, and then just finish out some of the other pieces because we can make all kinds of little things with these. Okay. All right. So I will just see you in the next video. Bye, guys.